You're watching Newsday TV. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ken Bufa. Memorials were held across Long Island today to remember the lives lost on September 11th, 2001. You're looking at the ceremony held in Hauppauge on the 23rd anniversary of the terror attacks. Nearly 30,000 people killed, 497 were Long Islanders.
We are here today is to make sure that we as a community, we as a county, and we as a nation never forget, but always remember September 11th, 2001.
Now, many police, firemen, and first responders were still suffering from 9/11 related cancers and illnesses. In Nassau, people visited the 9/11 Memorial in Eisenhower Park. The East Meadow Memorial has steel beams from the World Trade Center and the names of Nassau residents who were killed.
Jeffrey Donald Bittner.
This morning, thousands gathered in Manhattan for the annual reading of names for the victims. Flowers were placed around the World Trade Center Memorial. And one Long Island family is remembering a husband, a father, and friend that was inside the second tower during the 9/11 attacks. Virginia Huey has more.
For nearly 30 years, the World Trade Center dominated the skyline of Lower Manhattan as the quintessential symbol of America's economic power and prosperity. Roko was a part of that iconic landscape, working high above the clouds as a window washer at the Twin Towers.
Dad enjoyed every minute of it. He really did. He said it was just me in the sky.
Roko's son Vincent remembers his father's fearlessness and can-do spirit.
My dad had a great energy to him. You know, when he's on top, he felt like he was part of the building. He made it shine.
Born in Montenegro, Roko immigrated to the U.S. with his wife Katrina in 1969 in pursuit of the American dream. They settled in Manhasset, where they raised Vincent and daughters Angelina and Teresa. Roko began washing windows at the World Trade Center the year it opened in 1973.
My dad was really actually scared the first time he went out there. But he said the second day, no problem. He was going to do it no matter what to support his family.
Most of the World Trade Center's nearly 44,000 windows were cleaned by machine, but the windows on the 107th floor were a different story. Because they were made of wider panes of glass to provide panoramic views from the observation deck, they needed to be washed by hand, and it was Roko's job to keep them shining. Suspended 1,300 feet in the air in a maintenance basket, Roko enjoyed extraordinary views from the outside looking in.
Dad interacted with the people that were going on the windows of the world, and you'd see him waving at people that were inside, and he always said that they would, put their finger and go, "You're crazy for being outside."
Roko worked at the Twin Towers almost every day throughout their entire lifetime. On September 11th, Roko was on the roof of the South Tower when it was struck by United Airlines Flight 175. As fire and chaos broke out below him, Roko alerted Port Authority operations via walkie-talkie.
I said, "Don't send anybody up here, big smoke." He didn't want to have anyone else get hurt up there. So he said, just don't send anyone up here.
He called his wife and told her not to panic. Roko was killed when Tower 2 collapsed. He was 60.
My father was a great family man, and he was a great dad. And even to this day, I don't know if I 100% accept it. Yeah, I have to, but I don't 100%. The feeling will never go away. 23 years later, and it's still right here.
In the 23 years since his father's death, Vincent says he's eased his heartache by sharing stories about Roko, especially with the grandchildren he never met.
I say, Grandpa's up in the sky in heaven, and he's watching over you.
The spirit of a daring and dedicated man lives on in the hearts of his family and in a place that never forgets.
That we miss him. That we really miss him. And thankful for the time we had with Dad, but wish for our own selfish reasons we had more time.
For Newsday TV, I'm Virginia Huey.
Now you can watch our tribute remembering 9/11 streaming now on Newsday.com. We're honoring the lives lost and looking at the ongoing battle to protect the health of first responders and survivors. Switching gears now, cops say in Wantagh, a 32-year-old man was found dead on the side of a road. Officers responded to a 911 call on Wayside Lane around midnight. Police say the man had a gunshot wound and is from Amityville, but cops did not identify him yet. The investigation is ongoing. And first in Newsday, sources say pop star Justin Timberlake is expected to plead guilty in his DWI case. The plea would be a lesser charge when he heads back to court on Friday. The 43-year-old was arrested back in June. Now, police say Timberlake's eyes were bloodshot and he smelled like alcohol. He was then charged with DWI and ticketed for failing to stop at a stop sign and failing to stay in his lane. And a small school district on the East End is adding an armed security guard. The East Quogue district has hired one armed security guard, and the guard would protect one building that houses kindergarten through 12th grade. There are about 400 students in the district. Roughly 20 of Long Island's 124 school districts already have security guards that are armed. Kamala Harris and Donald Trump took the stage for the presidential debate last night. 59-year-old Harris replaced Joe Biden as a Democratic nominee this summer and pledged to be, quote, focused on the future. This is the third Republican bid for the Oval Office for 78-year-old Donald Trump, who says the nation is, quote, failing. Newsday columnist Joy Brown explains the contrasting styles between the two.
You looked at Donald Trump, and he was the same way you see him at his rallies. You know, he spoke with the passion and the fire and the fury that he normally does to an audience that is there to hear him. She, on the other hand, I keep thinking, she says she's a prosecutor, but I think if you've covered any trials, and you've covered a lot of them like I have, it was as if she was making a statement to a jury. She had a bunch of information, and she was able to marshal it. And you could tell that she was speaking about him, to the American people, in that persuasive way that you're trying to do a jury, because you understand that one juror can make a difference in a trial.
Now Long Islanders have a lot to say about the debate. Jill Wagner was at a watch party at Hofstra University where students weighed in.
No doubt how the crowd at Hofstra University felt about Tuesday night's debate between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump, where students gathered for a watch party.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets.
At points, students laughed when President Trump talked about issues like immigration and abortion.
First debate it went terrible for Biden, but this debate, I think, is going terrible for Trump.
Issues that these students say are top of mind.
Definitely abortion, because as a woman, right, I'm very concerned about this whole thing about, making choices about women's body.
What are issues that are important to you?
Frankly, the Israel-Gaza war.
I would say definitely LGBTQ plus rights.
Hofstra presidential scholar Mina Bose telling us the students are paying close attention this year, and the energy around the election is high.
This is a historic debate. The 2024 presidential election is going to be one of the most consequential in American history. And to view this as a group is really important. It's the start of the school year. We have a number of students who will be voting for the first time. Many students, this is their first presidential election in which they'll be voting.
It's important for me that I can look up on the screen and see that the people at the highest parts of our society can look like me. I think that's really important, and I'm here for the history of it.
All of the students that I spoke with here at Hofstra say they are excited about this election and that they are registered and planning to vote. Hofstra is even an early voting location starting on October 26th. For NewsdayTV, I'm Jill Wagner at Hofstra University.
Now you can read more about the race to the White House and how it impacts Long Islanders at Newsday.com. Just click Get More below the Newsday TV video box. And speaking of Donald Trump, he'll be holding a rally in Nassau next week. The former president will speak inside the Nassau Coliseum next Wednesday. He's expected to talk about immigration, public safety, and the cost of living. Now, the event was set on the day Trump was expected to be sentenced, but that has been pushed back to November. Now let's take a look at your Long Island weather, and spoiler alert, it's going to be gorgeous, just like it was today. Take a look. Tonight we're in the high 50s. Tomorrow we're near 80s with sunshine all day. Taking a look at tomorrow planner, you can see, like I said, sun, 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 sun. And as for the 7-day, it looks great too, until about next week where Tuesday and Wednesday doesn't look their best, but the weekend, I mean, can't complain.
Long Island weather is brought to you by PTRC.
You're watching Newsday TV. I'm Ken Buffa. Thank you so much for joining us.